ahead and take notice of how to self-advocate for yourself, how to look into things. I'll talk to you about people that are in your market center that would be available to you to help you through certain types of trainings or support, as well as the regional and KWRI as a whole. At this point, not knowing who exactly is on the call or how long you guys have been with KW, if at all, I don't know exactly what you guys have experienced so far. So why don't you guys tell me a little bit about where you're at? Have you logged in? Have you played around with Command? What have you done? Not even Command, but KW technology in general.
Who's going to go first?
I guess you are.
Yeah, I haven't really, I kind of dropped into some of the late week, like the last sessions that you had, but I felt like it was a little too in depth, and I still didn't know how to add people to, or add contacts. So I kind of hopped back out. It's very limited. So,
but you have your login, your password. So there's a start, right? You knew how to
so. There's been about 1 million passwords this past 30 days, like it's different systems, different platforms, but I'm pretty sure I can get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So jumping in and we're on, or you're coming in, you're joining us at different times. That's why we do the trainings the way that we do them. We try to roll through them roughly every 2 weeks. Orientation is every other Monday, and then we will walk through each individual applet. And yes, starting at the beginning is best. And as you find out, kind of jumping in the middle, you're missing something because they're all kind of daisy chained together a little bit. I will do my best to cover everything as you come on. Now, here's what I don't expect. At the end of these next days, you guys aren't going to be a master of all things tech. It just doesn't work that way, right? You're going to learn how to access. You're going to have a better understanding of the applets, just kind of like as you kind of fail forward and work in your phones, right? You start to learn little pieces all throughout it. And here's what I don't want you to feel like. You don't have to be a technologist, right? The technology that we provide for all of you inside of your business this is nothing more than leverage, right? This is a place to have your database. This is a place to talk to your social media. This is a place to create flyers for your listings. This is a place to process commissions and contracts and get things signed. There's a lot in there, and it's repetition and practice that'll make you more skilled in utilizing the tool. It just takes time. And we understand that. So you're not gonna, at the end of 8 days, right? Because this is a 2-week course, you're not gonna be a master. So don't put yourself in a situation and beat yourself and think that you need to be, because you don't. I have the benefits of a couple of things, right? One, just so you guys know, I'm here local, I'm in Virginia. I'm the Regional Technology Director for KW and for Region 12. I work for the region. I'm also a licensed realtor, and I have been for 14 years. So when I talk to you about the things that you're going to utilize in your business, I will often refer them back because I've done them, right? I'm coming from a practitioner. I'm not just coming from the aspect and the avenue of telling you, well, I'm a technology guy, so I'm going to tell you how to do things. That's not how I work. So I will relate as many things as possible to the commonalities of day-to-day business inside of real estate. So that's what I pride myself on as a trainer and as an instructor. Been an instructor for 5 years. I'm affiliated with KW United, which has 3 market centers here in Virginia, in Fredericksburg, Kingstown, and Falls Church. And I've been with KW since 2009. So kind of an old head in that aspect. So I've got a little bit of experience doing different things. And I've been teaching and training for the better part of the last 5 or 6 years here in Northern Virginia. There's a reason we have the platform that we have. And for those of you that have been around a little while, you may know this, and some of you may have not completely digested this yet, but as you may know, there's software packages. There's other companies that offer what we're offering that you can pay for. Well, one, I don't see the reason to have to pay for anything. 2, we built it ourselves. And that was a pretty big, audacious task that Gary and the team in Austin decided to go under, 4 or 5 years ago. But there's a very specific reason why we're building it instead of partnering, right? And bringing in other companies' finished products, right? Because we're rolling out, just so you know, while we're a working, functioning platform, every week you see new things come because we're kind of in a beta event where we're still rolling out new features and enhancements and honestly, bug fixes and things that are improvements that are coming along the way. But the reason why we've done this is that we used to partner with companies in the past. We used to partner with a company called Market Leader. They were subsequently bought by a company called Zillow. You may have heard of them. We were then partnered with a company called .loop for our contract writing e-signatures. They were subsequently purchased by a company called Zillow. You may have heard of them too. Zillow is we're under attack. Our industry is under attack. Our industry is under attack from venture capitalists that think that they can throw money at technology and honestly replace the realtor in these transactions. Zillow's thought, in for all intents and purposes, that they've been agent funded. They've become this huge monster in our world, and they've been agent funded because agents pay them to generate leads for them off of the listings that they've already taken, which is just mind-boggling to me, but it's what has happened. And now they want to put us out of business. They really want nothing more than to take our entire NAR, National Association Realtor pool, and make us all a bunch of showing assistants where they write the contracts. They have their brokerages and they pay you $50 a door to go open up the doors. That's their model, right? So the data, them buying KW contacts, them buying, or not KW, them buying market leader contacts, them buying dot loop, right? They put our realtors at risk, put the consumer at risk, because this is a data-driven world that we're in. Whoever has the contacts has the business. Our agents work very, very hard to build their business and their practices. So having contacts in your database and being able to protect them and know that they are not up for sale, just so you know this. KWs will never sell this platform. KW will not sell your data. KW will not take your data. It's your data. And it's the only way to know that is, or to protect that, is to be with us. If you're not with us, you're at risk. We see it all around us. Other brokerages, other companies gobbling each other up because it's a big data world. That's why KW has invested so heavily. Gary didn't need to do this. Gary is well off. He could be retired on the beach and drinking pina coladas with Jimmy Buffett down in Florida Keys if he wanted to. A lot of times over. But he's investing in the agent. He's betting on the agent. He's protecting the agent. So that's why we have our own platform. So I think it's important that you guys understand the big why on our journey as to where we're going and what goes along with that. So for those of you that have heard it before, great. For those of you who haven't heard that before, I hope you find that valuable information in knowing how our industry and where our industry is going and why this is such an important conversation to build our own platform. Does that sound good for everybody? I don't know if anybody's heard that before, but it's a comfort thing for me. Having been in a room with Gary and talked to him about that, I can tell you this. The guy is essentially like talking to Steve Jobs or Bill Gates. He's that informed. And I'm not just talking about real estate. He's that informed about technology, which was mind-boggling to me. That here's a gentleman, again, that doesn't need to be doing what he's doing, but he was so well-versed in technology, it was pretty inspiring. It was inspiring for me to be in a room like that and hear him talk face-to-face passionately about the agent and protecting the agent and essentially protecting our consumers. So with that, for the next hour, I'm going to walk you through access into our platform. And over the next 2 weeks, we're going to walk our way through the different applets inside of Command that you'll start to utilize on the day-to-day side of things for your business. So let me bring up my slides here. Let me share my slides. All right, like that. And the challenge with being in technology and having multiple screens is that you lose things sometimes, and things disappear and go to the wrong spot. So let me, there we go, share screen. All right, so everybody at this point should see some slides on the screen. Can I get a thumbs up if you guys are seeing my slides? Awesome, thank you. All right, so we just covered the understanding the journey and the big why for KW Tech. I am recording. I had mentioned to you guys that inside your market center, you have trainers, you have support, you have people that are there for you. That's another thing that separates us from a lot of the other organizations that are out there. We have what are called market center tech trainers. Mentioned at the top, I am your regional technology director, your regional tech trainer. And we have a wonderful team of market center tech trainers that are provided at the market center level for you. So on the screen are those rostered individuals that represent your market center. And next to that, you see your market center number. It's something you may get asked for every now and then. And I do ask when you log in for trainings, if you could put your market center number next to your name, just allows us to know who's in the room and what market centers you're coming from in case I need to follow back up with anybody or pass anything along to make sure you're getting the support necessary from your market center tech trainers during your onboarding on training process. All right. All right. I'm going to give you some bookmarks. All right. We're going to talk about the platforms that you need to access, how regularly you access them. And here's what they are. So one, you have a KW email. Mine is David Donaldson at kw.com, and yours is probably fairly something similar. Your name at kw.com, your name dot, first name, last name, first initial. Hey, if you're unique enough, you might just have David at kw.com. I wasn't able to get that. But our KW email platform is essentially just Gmail. It's a Gmail platform, and that's what you're able to. I am very finicky about agents and the email that they use in their business. And I'm going to talk to you guys as business owners because that's what you all are, right? I highly encourage you, and you may hear me say this, and I don't want to insult anybody, but using free mail for your business is not professional. Okay, so I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, but having the email address of David, your number one realtor at gmail.com, not cool, not professional, right? World's best realtor at AOL.com, not working for me. Sorry, Amanda, if that's yours and it's taken. Yahoo.com, Hotmail.com, Livewire.com, all those freemiums, please don't. Use your KW, okay? And then from there, when you build your business, okay, and you become a team or an organization or structure, maybe you purchase, well, you will all purchase a domain name, but maybe you become an organization. Donaldson Home Group is an example. It's not my business, but it could be, right? I can't just start marketing myself as Donaldson Home Group. Just so you know, you have to be an LLC, has to be approved by your market center, and it has to be on your license. So if you're thinking about just becoming a group, that's not that simple. So you have to talk to your broker about proper procedures around getting that done. But once you become an organization, an LLC, and you purchase a domain name, maybe I get donaldsonhomegroup.com. I could create a Gmail account around that where I could be David at donaldsonhomegroup.com. Completely acceptable in the KW universe. That's like the top echelon of approved, right? So you're going to have either a custom vanity domain that advertises your business, and you have an email with that, or you use your provided free KW email address. And then at the bottom of that is your freemiums. You guys cool and understand where I'm coming from of why the freemiums are bad? Cool. If you have any questions, talk to me in your Market Center Tech Trainers. Just the pet peeve of mine. All right, so that's Gmail. Accessing your KW email, which I'll show you, but that's Gmail. We have a platform called KW Connect. KW Connect is essentially our YouTube channel for KW. A lot of trainings, recruitings. We're going to walk through that. You guys will see that. So it's a domain you guys should book. Agent.kw.com. That's how you access command, right? That's your command platform, agent.kw.com. And then answers.kw.com, answers.kw.com is essentially Google for KW. Right? That's a great self-advocacy channel. You can search any topic inside KW, and it's not just technologically speaking, okay? Anything we do in our business. You can do some research, and you're going to have articles, fact pages, videos, step-throughs, tutorials, right? And they're very good at keeping them up to date anytime there's a change to anything that we've rolled out. So answers.kw.com is your first place to go if you need to find out some information. Your second place to go if you need help for information is your Market Center Tech Trainer, right? They should be on speed dial. You should have their email address inside your Market Center. They are there to help you. They're your first stopgap for support or any challenges you might be having. Please talk to them. They're there to help you, okay? So bookmark these links. We're going to walk through each of these here in a little bit. Technology support and self-advocacy. There's a lot of you would raise your hands at different times and say, I'm not a technologist. I'm going to be the worst person in your class. I hear this all the time. You're not. I've had them. I know who they are. Ted's here. If I can get him to work this platform, we're good. I trust you. Now, there's nothing hard here. It's overwhelming because it does so much. And the funny thing is, in your worlds, in your current world, in your personal sphere, you log into things all the time, every day, multiple different platforms, Facebook, Instagram, logged in, Hootsuite, Twitter, right? TikTok, gosh knows what else, your database, right? Any other things you're utilizing in your world that you use through your phone. Once you think of command as nothing more than a similar to your phone that has apps on it. We call them applets inside of command, but that's what you have. And instead of having to log in all these different platforms to run your business, we're giving you one where a lot of systems and tools are plugged in on the back end, and you're only accessing one portal. However, that one portal does a lot of things. So not hard, all encompassing, and maybe a little bit overwhelming for the new users. We'll get you there. Okay. So answers.kw.com, what that does, right? That's that Google, but it's also a place to support a help ticket if you, or a trouble ticket if you're having some. But I still tell you, if you think something's broken, talk to your Market Center tech trainer, because they're going to walk you through that. Okay. Because they're going to help you identify one of three things. Most of our support tickets, over 80% of our help support tickets, are informative related questions by an agent looking for help and saying something's broken. But really what it is that they don't know how to use something within the platform. So that's why I say, hey, talk to your Market Center tech trainer, because they'll be able to point you in the right direction for training. Second most requested thing that we get through our ticket system is you're asking for the platform to do something it doesn't do. So we call that a feature request. The third thing, and believe it or not, the least amount of issues that we actually have are support related issues. It's broken, it's not functioning, their issue. We're tech. I'm not wearing my t-shirt today, but sometimes tech happens, right? It goes down, it breaks, and it may be unique to you. It may be specific to us in the region, or it might be a national challenge. Those things happen. Your Market Center tech trainers will communicate that on a global scale if necessary, and one-to-one if it affects you directly. That's why I want you to make sure, don't ever make an assumption. As my father always says, we don't like to assume, right? We know what happens with that, right? But make sure that even if you're experiencing something that you deem to be broken, that a ticket gets generated so they can see the number of issues that we're having. We want to make sure that they're being scratched and itched and those are being addressed, okay? And you'll be communicated with through KWI as any systems fixes are rolled out, because you notify them that you were having that challenge. So that is important. And your Market Center tech trainer is there to walk you through, showing you how to make sure that ticket gets submitted through the first couple of times, but you'll understand how to do that process. We'll talk about where to get command help, which we just addressed through answers.com. Connect. Scott Leroy Marketing. Scott Leroy Marketing is a third-party company that every one of the agents in our region have access to. So scottleroymarketing.com. Okay. It's not a KW system. He's a third-party vendor that helps support our agents and set up their systems and bring in their contacts and provides wonderful training, just like we do here at the region. So you have access to that. There's a library of videos and they do a lot of things. To access Scott Leroy, when you click login, he's going to ask you for your Market Center. So that's why it was important for me on that first screen that I showed you, if you didn't write it down, to make sure where your Market Center number is, because the login for Scott Leroy, the password is simply your Market Center number. So just put in your number so they can track in what you need necessary to. We do have a regional YouTube channel. Ted's going to go ahead and put the link for that inside of chat. Right, Ted? Thank you. He's also going to put the link to the regional Facebook group. Okay. The reason these two things are important are, one, these classes that we provide for you are recorded and you can go back and watch them, and they're hosted on our regional YouTube channel. Two, every day, our Market Center tech trainers provide a tech tip or topic, and we put them on our Facebook group. And if there's something you need to know about, if there's a global outage, it's one of the first places we'll put information. That's our main communication vehicle for everybody in our region. So always go there as one of your first stops to see what's going on, what new updates, what releases, what kind of new trainings, or hey, little bits of information to take your utilization inside of Command to the next level. So those will be here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on the Facebook page. Thank you, Ted. Support, I just kind of touched on that. If you have a support outage, talk to your Market Center tech trainer. They'll walk you through the cycle of getting those things resolved for you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into what's called mykw.kw.com. That's our old platform. There are still some things that are up and running on it while we're migrating across to Command fully, but there's still some things that take place on the back end, and I want you to be aware of what those are. So I'm gonna walk you through that. So mykw.kw.com. Is everybody seeing my screen? I changed it. We're off the slides. Okay, perfect. You're gonna see a little picture, smiling face, and a profile button here. We'll talk to profiles because there's a couple of profiles you're going to have to deal with as you're building your back end, okay? Because they don't all talk to each other yet. So there's some repetition in here, and I apologize for that, but that's what happens when you're migrating across systems, okay? So if you click on profile, you're gonna see a bunch of fill in the blanks. Just give it all the information that you can. Log your name, user ID. When we talk to KW, you're gonna have a username. You're gonna have a username and password to get into your systems. That's here, right? Just in case you didn't know what it was. You got an email for it, but it's also here. And your username and password will get you into everything that KW provides to you. KW command, user ID and password. KW connect, user ID and password. mykw.kw.com, username and password. The only thing that's different, unless you make the password the same, is your Gmail access, because that's Gmail, not KW. So you'll have a different password to that. And I'll show you how to update and change that here in a second. You'll put your contact information here. You're going to see your bio in here. Please take note. There are two types of bios you need to have in your real estate business. Okay. One is you connecting with the consumer. Okay. It's a consumer facing bio. You're also going to have an agent to agent bio. And by agent to agent, I'm talking agent to agent inside of our KW ecosystem. Because whether you realize it or not, you are now part of the largest referral company in the world. Okay. Number one in agents, number one in units, and we pass referrals. My last 3 transactions were actually referral transactions around the country. One was in Naples, Florida. One was in Huntsville, Alabama. I'm actually just sent a referral out to Exton, Pennsylvania, and so on and so on. So those things will happen in your world. So you're going to establish connections, and that'll be on the last day, but you need to have an agent to agent facing bio. Your consumer facing bio, if you're new to the business, okay, is going to be missing something. And this is a paralyzing fear for most agents, is that you can't talk about your success in real estate because you might not have one yet, right? That's okay. Here's the great equalizer in real estate. Every single associate started with the same number of transactions history. You know what that is? 0. Most successful agent in your market center started at the same place you started at. 0 transactions. Okay. So don't worry about saying, hey, you're not able to brag about your successes yet. You're looking to connect with people. Where'd you go to school? Where'd you grow up? What are your hobbies, right? What are you involved in? Those are what people are looking for. They're looking for a reason to connect with you. So don't be paralyzed by fear with transactional data. That'll come over time. You can update those bios once you having local success. So I want to remove that fear from you guys, because that's typically the first stumbling block for most people, is they don't know what to say because they don't have any background in real estate. That's okay. You come from a background in business, you come from, you might have PTOs or, masters, teachers, anything you did in your last world. You talk about how that is going to make you successful in real estate. Talk about that you're a hockey parent, or your kids play baseball or soccer, or that you're a coach, or the churches that you're involved in, or anything you're passionate about, organizations and structures and donations and time spent. That's what people want to hear about. Okay, is everybody comfortable with that? Does that make sense? Awesome. All right, so you fill out the rest of this information here. And if you got any questions about specific things, you can talk to your market center tech trainer or your MCA or your team later, but there's nothing all-encompassing or difficult on your profile here. The next thing that you're going to see here across the top is I want you to hover over top of technology. Okay, and remember, this is recorded, and you can always go back at this. If you miss something, that's okay. Underneath here, okay, you have where it says KW email. If you click on that, it's either going to ask you to sign up. All of you should have had this set up for you by now. Scott Leroy normally takes care of that, but if not, you can still sign up, or manage your KW email. Under manage is where you'll see your email, as I told David Donaldson at kw.com is mine. Okay. You could forward that email to another email address, should you choose. Okay. And you can reset your password here. A lot of agents do make this password the same as their KW password, so everything's the same. Now, security-wise, having the same password doesn't make sense, but for agents, I understand the concern of having multiple passwords. So that's entirely up to you, just letting you know what agents do. At the bottom, you have a recovery email. And this is what you put in if you get logged out of your KW system and you forget your password. When you hit password reset, what email address does this go to? So if you forgot your password and your email password's the same, don't make this email address the same, right? This is the one place we'll tell you it's okay to have your free mail platform, right? I've got a bogus email address in my life where I send all my junk to. I actually have like 5 email addresses, and that will go there for my reset. So it's all good. So that's where I would set up my recovery email to go to that third-party email that doesn't really have anything to do with my business, but it's my catch-all that I know I can get access to. So that's setting up your email. Any questions on email configuration? Pretty straightforward, right? All right. And honestly, when you go in, you're just going to go to Gmail. Once you go to gmail.com. Does anybody not know how to use Gmail? Okay. If you don't, please see a Market Center Tech Trainer. But you literally just go ahead and log in and do the same thing on your phone. You'll log into your Gmail, put your new KW email and password, and sync those all together so everything talks to each other. All right. So also on my KW, a lot of our market centers, okay, still use what's called the intranet, and they should. It's where they post a lot of their internal trainings. Okay, what's going on in your market center? What type of events are going on? What's speaking? What's happening? What's trainings? And those can actually sync to your Google Calendar. So I do encourage you to do this, that you would go into your intranet, to your market center, okay? It's Monday. My computer's always a little bit sluggish. You'll see a calendar here, but at the top, you'll see your picture if you've added a picture. If not, it's your preferences. And at the bottom, you have to edit preferences. And at the bottom of this edit preference screen is a calendar sync. So this is where you would go to sync up the Office calendar to either your Apple or your Droid. Okay, I don't take sides in this battle. I'm a Droid user. Sorry for you Apple people, just saying. Right, Ted? Yeah. So you can sync those two together. Come back to the home page. Most of the other things that if you click on any of these tabs across the top, will start to redirect you to command as we migrate away from this. The ones that I kind of showed you were probably the most important. One other thing, you can change your password here. So if you have a long character string that KW provided for you, which is like XQYZJ4872, and you prefer to make it something else, you can come in here and change your password and update it to something new. Okay. That, in a nutshell, is what you'll need to utilize through mykw.kw.com. Any questions on that one portal at this time? Ted, anything in chat? Okay, we're good. All right, so we'll move on to the next platform. Okay, so we covered all the things in mykw. Actually, you know what? There was one thing I forgot to cover, wasn't there? Oh, you make mistakes too. One other thing inside of my KW, when you filled out your profile, what that does is that actually goes to what's called the white pages. Essentially, the white pages is a roster of all agents inside of KW's ecosystem. So you could search an agent by name, or you can search them by market center by coming in here under associate information and search up their name. You'll see that there are 34 associates across KW with the last name Donaldson. So you can search by agent and they'll show up on that list. So that's the white pages. That was something I did forget to show you. So there we go. So we're good there. All right. KW Connect. As I mentioned when we kicked off, that KW Connect is essentially the YouTube channel, but it's privatized for just KW. Okay. So when you log in to connect, the first thing you'll see on the right-hand side is another profile. Okay. So make sure you take the time to update your profile here. This is your agent-to-agent facing profile. Okay. So the conversation here is a little bit different. I talked to you the first profile, I talked about your marketing profile that goes out to your consumers. Okay. In our KW world, you're going to hear a lot of things that sound crazy. We're going to talk about Ignite. We're going to talk about Bold. This week is Red Day, right? You're going to be a member of your ALC or maybe your tech committee. All those things make sense inside of KW. But if you say those things out to the general public, they're going to be like, what the heck are you talking about? They have no idea what you're talking about. but to agents, they make sense. So the things that you participate in, or recognition that you've gotten, or involvement that you have, whether you're a culture ambassador inside of your market center, or how many times you've gone through Bold, matters to certain agents. So those are the types of things that when you start to do them, will incorporate in your agent to agent, your KW Connect and referral bio. Now, again, in the beginning, if you're brand new, your two bios will probably be very similar. But the more you do in business, they'll go in different directions as far as everything they talk about, right? You'll talk more about KW things that you've done, as well as success in your business for your agent to agent. And then on your consumer facing bio, it'll be everything that you initially talked about and then successes in your business. But they're not going to care too much if you've been on the ALC, or how many times you've gone to Bold, or you've become a trainer, or you've gone to Ignite. Some of that might make sense, right? But some of it might make not sense. I can't talk. So there's that. So that's your Connect bio. Now, inside of Connect, let me walk you across the top. I'm going to point out a couple of important things. There's a lot here. Be really careful when you're new to not be busy being busy. Your first job is lead generation, because lead generation leads to getting paid. But you should time block some time to get comfortable, familiar with all the systems that you have at your disposal. But you can literally go in here and spend hours looking at stuff. Don't do that. Time block some time to get comfortable doing this, right? But I'm going to highlight the important things in here so you know how to access, especially being a new agent. So across the top, you're going to see training, okay? Training, there's a Connect live calendar. So what I'm doing for you right now is a regional training. And we have these every day because our regional trainings are a little bit different than KW. They're specific to us. But KW as a whole provides 3 trainings a day. So if you look at the training Connect live calendar, you'll see trainings that are scheduled for the upcoming week. And what I typically instruct agents to do, or coach them to do, is take a look either Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the end of the week, see what trainings are coming up regionally, see what trainings are coming up from KWRI, and time block your calendar accordingly. And see these trainings you want to attend, okay? Now, the nice thing is if you miss a training, just like here at the region, they have KW Live on Demand, where you can go back and watch something. So any of these trainings that you may have missed that you wanted to attend, they will typically be up within about 72 hours. You'll be able to go back and watch those sessions. These sessions are usually typically anywhere between 15 minutes and a half hour. Sometimes they're an hour. Our regional trainings are always typically an hour because we're covering a large chunk of information. So that's Connect Live. You should know that that's available to you, okay? Under resources, there's a Welcome to Associates tab, as well as another Connect Live calendar. We're repetitive, so you don't ever have to go looking for things a lot of times. New Welcome to Associates. So right here is a quick, where should I be in my world of onboarding? Your market centers are going to walk you through some things, but there's also a KW provided information to how you set things up, which we're walking through now, right? Setting up, what's a tech-enabled agent, what's color crowd, your agent site. All these things we will cover, but again, knowing where you can go back and look at them inside of KW at your own pace is not a bad thing either. So that new agent onboarding, Welcome to Associates, is a great place for you to look, okay? Under technology, across the top, you can log directly into command, which I showed you was agent.kw.com. You don't need Command Your Market Center, but you do need Command Your Business. All right, so Command Your Business is literally a pre-done, step-by-step, baby step, everything in Command. I mentioned our trainings are 1 hour, and they vary week by week, depending on what's new, what's updated, what I've experienced in particular, what your market center tech trainers, what they're focusing on, but they're around the core applets. But KW has provided one for the tech-enabled agent, and if you're on a team, there's team training too. But you can walk through here in a much more micro level. And their trainings are on here recorded, and they're usually 10 minutes or less. So they're a lot less in time and a lot more bite-sized digestible pieces. So you might get home from work at the end of the day, crack a beer, pour a glass of wine, and start watching some of these things, hit pause, repeat, and they're laid out in a really nice fashion and format for you to access that you can always go back to. And again, you're hearing it from somebody different, a little bit different to me. So I think it's important that you know that that is available to you, right? So that is your Command Your Business. All right. We'll cover referrals next week on Thursday. And then we also have this little hourglass, our search bar. That's search. So you can search for any topic. You can search for any person. I showed you how to search people in white pages. This basically connects to that. Like I could search for Ted, I could search for Amanda, and you would show up in my index. Or if you search by me and you follow me, you'll see trainings that I'm doing, what calendar events I have, what I've recorded or posted, and you can follow different things that I may be coming or other agents have done. So that's how this kind of works in the back end. So this is KW Connect. One other thing I do think that you should know and download, under resources, there's a marketing button. Inside of marketing, right, there's very specific. You have a lot of flexibility in your world about marketing your business. So there's a great information under logos and branding. It's like a 30-page document, but basically it outlines for you the do's and don'ts of what your signs, your business cards, and how to utilize the KW logo, or if you're creating your own logo, and how that all comes together, right, inside your world. So there's KW parameters, but there's also local parameters, because regionally our laws are different than what they are in California or even Maryland, to be completely honest. Maryland, DC are different than us here in Virginia. Is anybody licensed in all three jurisdictions or plans on being licensed in all three jurisdictions? No right or wrong there. Just understand that how we do business in Virginia varies from how we do business in Maryland. So if you're going to get licensed in those areas, which I do encourage you, if it makes sense for your business. A lot of people in Northern Virginia are licensed in DC and Maryland. If you're further south, you might not be, right? You might be in North Carolina. You might be in West Virginia, right? We have agents in the southern states, southern portion of the state, that are licensed in those multiple areas, right? So talk to your broker if you're going to expand or get your license into those other territories. It's a really good conversation and understanding as you grow your business, the value of doing it. When I first moved here, I live in Northern Virginia. I just assumed I would get licensed in Maryland and DC. I opted not to do that and just referring it out. That's just something that made sense for me. But I know plenty of agents that drive across the river and go do business over there, but the laws are a little bit different. So don't want to scare you. I just want you to be careful. Agents get fined, right? That happens. That's a real thing. And I don't want you guys to get fined. So any questions on accessing KW Connect and some of the things that you'll find in the background in here? Okay, moving on. So next from KW Connect, we're going to go into Command itself, agent.kw.com. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up on the screen. And I'll give you guys a quick tour for Command. So when you first come into Command, you'll log in with your user ID and password. You will land on this dashboard. This is the home page. If you ever click on the red KW at the top right-hand side, top left-hand side, it'll bump out all those applets, right? So I talked about applets. This is like your cell phone, right? So that's what you have here. Contacts, that's your database. People will call Command, or they'll say, hey, what's your CRM? Command is not a CRM. Command is a platform that has a CRM. Our CRM is called Contacts. So that's going to be your database. We're going to take a deep dive into that tomorrow. Okay. Contacts, emails, phone numbers, social media, right? What am I calling them? How often am I calling them? When's the last time I talked to them? How am I filtering them? Am I talking about tags and databases and custom information? All that information is inside of Contacts. Tasks. What do I need to do today? As you see here, I've got some bunch of people I need to call, right? Who do I need to email? Who do I need to text? What's coming up in my future? Those are tasks, okay? Those are populated to me based off of the information I've provided in my contact records. Smart plans. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. Smart plans are the system emails, phone alerts, or text messages that go out on your behalf. Some are custom. Some are default created for you that you can edit. But those are things that we're sending out to our consumers on a regular basis that helps you stay in front of them. Perfect example is that, hey, they have a birthday. So there's what we call a birthday smart plan. It reminds you to call them. It reminds you to send them a card. It'll remind you to maybe put something on social media, and it'll send them an email. Or we use what's called a monthly neighborhood nurture, sending information out to our consumers about the neighborhoods that they live in, and it happens automatically on the back end, right? And what's really cool, because our platform is national and not just local, is that you could send an update when you have a relationship with somebody about not just where they currently live. So if you were sending me an email, keeping me abreast of what's going on in my neighborhood, so you might send me information around Lakes of Ashburn, but you really know me and you know that I'm from just outside Philadelphia. So you might be sending me information updates of homes for sale in my hometown, right? I like to stay up to speed on that. A lot of people do as well. And also you might know that, hey, I want to retire down in Florida. So you might be sending me information about neighborhoods in Florida. Those are those bi-weekly neighborhoods that once you get those in the hands of your consumers, they're never going to unsubscribe from them. They're going to love you for it. So we'll take a deeper dive into those, but those are what smart plans are. That's a small component of smart plans. Referrals. How are you going to pass referrals inside of our ecosystem from agent to agent? That happens in here. Opportunities is what I call the digital whiteboard, right? Where are you in your pipeline? You met somebody today. Are you going to do business with them? How long is it going to take you to get them from cultivating that relationship to closing them in a transaction? Depends. Might be 7 to 10 weeks. It might be 2 to 3 years. That happens too, right? Where does your pipeline? Your pipeline has value, right? And once you get them on a contract, right? When are you closing? What does that transaction to close look like? That all happens in what we call opportunities. Campaigns. We have a special relationship with Facebook, right? You guys all heard of Facebook? This little thing you might have heard of, came out in 2007. You can advertise your listings on Facebook. You can advertise them to your business page. You can advertise them to people you don't know, right? We've all seen those advertisements pop up in your feed on Facebook. Those are campaigns. They're broadcasts. That's pay-per-click advertising. You can do that through our platform without having to go directly to Facebook, and you get a lot better in your dollar spend when you do it that way. So we'll teach you how to do that next week. Reports. What's going on in your database, right? How much information do you know about your consumers, right? How many emails have you sent? How many smart plans have you sent? How are you in your growth and your production against your goals for the year? That's all underneath reports. Designs. Has anybody heard of a company called Canva? Right. Canva is a marketing platform. I love it. It's a great platform. However, it's limited.
I use it. It's good.
It is good. However, it's limited. You may not know that it's limited. You know why it's limited? Because guess what they don't have? All the listing information. So you have to upload your photographs. You've got to upload your contact information. So we have a platform called Designs. It works very similarly to Canva, except it has all the listing information. It has all the photographs. So swapping that stuff in is incredibly easy. Now, is it as sexy as Canva? No, but it's got 2,000 different templates in there that you can utilize in flyers, listing presentations, marketing brochures, magazines, door hangers, postcards, just listed, just sold, that you don't have to start from scratch like you do in Canva. You've got a lot of the same functionality and editing capabilities that you do. Images, bubbles, color schemes, default fonts that you have in Canva. So we'll teach you how to utilize that, and you'll see how seamless and integrated it is with our platform, because once you create a design in our system, then you can then publish it to Facebook directly. Now, that doesn't mean you can't create something in Canva and upload it in the system, but this works very, very similarly. And I've seen a lot of teams or even marketing people that were paying for Canva Pro, like I was, be able to recognize that they don't need to make that, have that expense anymore, because they can get everything they need out of Designs. So we'll take a deep dive into that. Listings, as I mentioned, all of your listings are going to be in this platform, and not just yours. Like, you might be holding an open house for my listing. You might need to do a flyer or an advertisement for that open house for my listing. The cool thing is, because I just talked about Designs, you'll have access to all that listing information. So you won't have to go looking for photographs or download them from the MLS. They're in the system. All listings in the United States and Canada, they're all available for you to kind of see, which is really cool. And then consumer. Our consumer experience is your website and your mobile app. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about consumer. And it's constantly evolving over time, but you have a website that's available to you, and you have a mobile app that's provided for you, for your consumers to search for real estate. That mobile app is national. They can search for properties anywhere. It's not just tied to your local MLS. So you might have a consumer that's looking here because they're looking to sell, but they're looking to move to the Badlands in South Dakota, right? So they could be searching for property there. They could be searching for property in Canada. They could be searching for property in New York. And the nice thing is that you see all that activity and you'll know that, hey, I might need to establish a relationship for them so I can get a referral to where they're moving to. So think about it as, if we take a deep dive in next Tuesday, is like the Netflix experience, right? When you guys log into Netflix on your computer, you can pause, stop, pick up your phone, watch just where you left off, pause, go to your TV in your living room because it's a smart TV, pick up where you left off. The consumers can search from their desktop or from their phone, and anything they saved or liked or tracked is accessible on any platform because it's logged into their account. So that's why we kind of explain that as that Netflix experience for the consumer's leverage. So those are all the applets we're going to go over the next 8 days. Between 10 and 11 every day on this BAT channel, okay, we'll cover over one of these applets in a deep dive for you guys. And you'll learn from the different Market Center tech trainers inside of a region. It won't be me talking every day. I know you would love to hear me every day, but I assure you, hearing from some of these other Market Center tech trainers, they do bring value to you as well. So I like to showcase and feature them. As we wrap up today, I want to show you a couple things that I'm going to say, hey, here's kind of your homework for today, right? Things that you should do leading into tomorrow's class to make that a successful experience for you, right? Tomorrow, we're going to talk about contacts, right? We're going to take a deep dive into contacts, but what I want you to do today is go into the contacts tab on the left. And without worrying about too much what's in here, I want you to hit this import button. And there's a download button. It's going to give you an Excel spreadsheet. I want you to download that and start putting information in there. That's your contact information: first name, last name, address, birthdays, phone numbers, home address, right? Maybe their Facebook page or the LinkedIn page or the Twitter page. Just start kind of getting ahead of that, because that's the first thing you guys should be doing is lead generation. And we want to make sure that you get your contacts into the system. We're going to talk more about it tomorrow, but I wanted you to download it and have that today so you can start working on it if you haven't already done it already. Secondly, at the top of, I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Okay, when you log in, you get to customize your dashboard. So your view on this page is going to look different than my view. And the reason that is because each of these boxes are called widgets. You'll get familiar with widgets because we use them often throughout the platform. Okay. On the upper right-hand side, it says customize. So what you can do is you can tell the system what information do you want on your dashboard page. Okay. Tasks. What do I have to do today? Product updates. What is KW released that I need to know about inside of Command? Goals versus actual. Where are you month to date versus your annual goals? If you haven't set your annual goals yet, please talk to your productivity coach in your Market Center. They will help you establish those goals, or your team leader or your Market Center tech trainer. Design updates. I talked about Canva and designs. The cool thing about designs is that every time we have big events coming up, right? Taxes are due in a week. We've got a thing called Red Day this week. Holidays are happening, and holidays some of us have never even heard of. Our marketing department develops these fun tools for us, these templates that you can share and post on social media, right? Whether it's a birthday card, right? Or a Mother's Day post, those are going to be available to you in the back end. So the designs updates keeps you abreast of anything that's new that the marketing department has released for you. Database health score. Health score, we're going to learn more in contacts. Is like, how much information do I have in my database? And what does that look like? We like to gamify things. We like to give you 100 points if we can. And that's based on the amount of information of your database. We'll talk more details tomorrow. Notepad. Do you take notes? Do you want to take notes from your dashboard? Similar a lot of other platforms. And what new leads are in your system? So if you uncheck any of these, as I do here, you'll see on the right-hand side, they disappear. If I check them back on, they come back. And what I can do here is I can change the order or display that they are on my right-hand side. So maybe instead of tasks at the top, I want my goals. And instead of product updates, I want my leads at the top. I can drag those. If you grab these 6 dots, okay, sometimes you might hear them called as meatballs, 6 meatballs, right? Like on top of a plate of spaghetti. You can drag and move those things around. Click apply, and it's going to change your display on your home screen. So that's all here for you too. You've got this purple guided tour button here. So KW is also giving you information of what's on the screen that I haven't seen before. And I will tell you, the first time you log into certain screens, it opens up for you as a little tutorial from Gary Keller saying, here's what you need to do on this page. So the guided tours are a friendly little walkthrough of what you might be experiencing in your home screen. So it's just another nice little touch. Okay. You've got a little question mark on the upper right-hand side. It's a help guide. Okay. You could search by the guided tours. You could chat with support. Well, I'll be honest with you. Chatting with support is typically bogged down, okay, by people asking for training. So it's not your best avenue. Your Market Center Tech Trainer and answers.kw.com is your best avenue, okay? And you can post an idea, which is really cool. You'll hear us talk about and say that, hey, Command is built by agents, built for agents by agents. And what we're saying is we listen to you. Every Monday in Austin, Gary Keller, Jason Abrams, Chris Cox, okay, Carl Liebert, they get together in a meeting and they actually go through, and the website is ideas.kw.com. They actually go through there and see what is new, what's being voted up, what are the agents asking for? What do the agents want to see out of our platform that we don't have yet? Whether it's enhancements, improvements, changes, or new product, they take that very seriously. So if you have an idea, I highly encourage you to post that into the system, and you can actually go in and get other agents to vote that up. So take a look at ideas.kw.com. All right, you've got a little marketplace here. I'm not going to go in there today, but you can go in there and look because we have what's called an API. And what that means is that other systems, other tools, you can plug into KW and they work with certain things. So you can shop. Now, KW is free to use, as part of what you pay below a Market Center, right? It's inexpensive. You do not need to pay for anything else to utilize Command. But some agents like to add other toys to their platform. So there's relationships on the back end that you could shop and add and plug in certain other tools to use in your business. Next to that is a little bell notification. So anytime you get a client update or you've done something or somebody's reaching out to, you have this little notification bell. You click on that and you'll see what's going on. Next to that, you see your account. I mentioned earlier, you have a couple of profiles, okay? This is that redundancy. Now, this first profile that you see here is your agent-to-agent profile. That's the same one inside of Connect. If you build it out in Connect, it will show up here. If you build it here, it will show up in Connect. So it does go back and forth between the two places and you can update it. Most agents get confused and see profile here and think it's their marketing profile to the general public. It is not. Okay, so I want to be clear about that. To access your consumer-facing bio, okay, in your marketing profile, you need to go to Settings. Click on that. And on the left-hand side, you're going to see another drop-down. And this is where things get a little squirrely because there's a lot of things from a setup component on the back end, and we will repeat these daily to show you what's important, okay? Command settings. Sorry, wrong one. See, I make mistakes too. Contact settings. Underneath contact settings is your marketing profile. Sorry. Your marketing profile. This is not pulling from anywhere else. It's not tied to the white pages, okay? So you do need to go here and give it information. Your photo. If you haven't gotten a photo yet, you really need to go get one. Okay, get a professional business photo. A lot of the market centers will bring people in. Heck, get a friend. Get a professional photo. Different shots, candid, relaxed, posed. Great outside, indoor environments. Not just the standard blue background, gray background that we're kind of used to. I do recommend that you do that, okay? Team logo, if you're on a team, you can upload those. Your contact information, you'll see some of these are marked with a little red asterisk. That means you have to have them, right? So in order to finish this, there are certain things you have to provide. Bio, we talked about the importance of having a marketing bio. Don't panic. You can update this over time, but just start working on one that you can get in here, okay? Don't leave that blank. Your contact information, right? Your website, we'll talk about what your website is on your consumer side of things later. Your Market Center logo. Talking Market Center, Tech Trainer, your leadership, there is a Market Center logo for just about every one of you, okay? And your contact information for your brokerage, that has to be on your marketing information. It's part of the law. Legal footer, everybody has to have this too. Write this down. Each office is independently owned and operated. That's it. Don't make it any more complicated than that. That's what it is. That has to be on your website. It's got to be in your marketing material. It's got to be on your business cards. It's a disclosure. You got to have it. Legal footer, you don't have to have anything here. Social, those are your social pages, right? You're not going to put your personal page here, right? This is business. You're all going to have or should have a Facebook business page, okay? Your Twitter page, your LinkedIn profile, Instagram, YouTube, if you have them. If you don't, at a minimum, I highly encourage you, at a minimum, to have a Facebook business page. If you don't have anything else, that's the one that I recommend that you have. Instagram might be second, okay? Now, there are two other things you will see here at the bottom, Facebook Pixel and Google Analytics. I'm going to leave it to you very, very simply. If you know what this is, you're going to fill it in the blanks. If you don't know what this is, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't need to worry about it. I know that's not the best answer, but really to factually based for the sake of time and the real value in our platform, you don't need to worry about it. But a lot of people do worry about it and they use it. So if you do, plug that information in. I'll give you more information around that when we get into consumer, but don't trip up over this, okay? Then save all the information. Now, once you've saved all that, there's a green button here in the upper right-hand side. I want you to turn this on. This takes this information and pushes it to the different applets that we're going to walk through in the next couple of days. Consumer, marketing, okay? Advertising, smart plans, campaigns. It's going to pull information from here. So make sure once this is complete, you turn this toggle on. Don't worry, I'll remind you as we go through day to day. Okay, couple minutes left as we wrap up. Other thing under the settings page, before I jump, there's a command training. So that, again, this will tie back to different components inside of commands so you can plug around. Take a look at that. Different applet trainings that I showed you inside of Connect, this kind of jumps to that. But under settings, we'll walk through this, but there'll be a couple things you'll need to know. First and foremost, almost all of our offices use DocuSign. So you should have a DocuSign account connected to your account. If you do not, and your Market Center uses DocuSign, please talk to either your Market Center tech trainer or your broker about making sure that you've got DocuSign connected. Okay, they'll make that integration for you. I talked about Facebook, and we'll take a deeper dive into that, but there are two Facebook connections. But you have to have a personal account that you'll log into. So you're going to need your login and password for Facebook. But you're also going to have a business page. While you'll log in through your personal page, that allows it to see your business page. You can only advertise through your business page, not your personal page. We'll step through that. We're not going to worry about ports right now. When you set up your Gmail, I do want you to connect your KW Gmail to this, because what's valuable here is that every time you email somebody, it tracks it back to their contact record. So if you email me and I'm in your database, and my email address is also in your database, it'll recognize that you sent me an email, and it'll add a contact to your contact card that you emailed David on today's date and time. So that's what that connection allows you to do, is see that you sent communication to certain people in your database. Okay. Same thing with Office 365 if you use that platform for email. PieSync. Does anybody, I showed you that contacts form. Does anybody currently have their database in a different CRM tool at this time? Amanda, what are you using, Amanda?
I use Sierra.
Okay, I don't know if Sierra is integrated into PieSync, okay, but it's something we could look into. Okay, and I would have you, what we can do is take a look and see if PieSync and Sierra talk to each other, because that allows us to pull data from some platforms into our platform. And so PieSync is a third-party integration. So that would be an offline conversation that we can have about looking at sync. But if you click on PieSync and search for Sierra, it'll tell you if they talk to each other. If not, what you need to do is export the data from Sierra, import it to that form that I just showed you, but we can work you through that and making that happen, okay?
Got it.
But PieSync does work with a lot of other platforms like 300, but they're a third-party partner of ours that pulls data from one CRM into ours. Now, here's what you need to understand. CRM companies aren't happy when you jump ship, right? So Sierra doesn't want to lose your business. So all that information, even if we can get some of it, may not export great, right? Because they want to hold you in. So just recognize that you might not be able to get everything. It's not always easy, but we'll see what we can do to make sure to get as much information, or at least you can export it and see what that integration upload might look like, okay? Talked about syncing up Facebook, Twitter. We'll get into more of that in the, when we do get into the social. Most of us don't use .loop anymore, but I know 1 or 2 offices that still do. And then at the bottom, you're going to see Command Email, MailChimp, and Twilio. We will talk more about these when we start setting up smart plans, but Command Email is different than your Gmail email that we provided. So KW, when it sends automatic emails on your behalf, they're an email provider, and it basically will be your name at mail or .mail.kw.com. It's not a marketing email that you're going to send out. It's a tracking email that happens in the back end. And when your consumers respond to that email, it comes back to your KW email or whatever email you tell you want the replies to come to. We'll walk through the setup for that when we get into smart plans. And then the last one that you see in here that I'm going to encourage you to take a look at is a partnership with a company called Twilio. Anybody have a Google Voice number, or anybody heard of a Google Voice number? Like I have my phone number is a 488 number because I came from Arizona before I came back to the East Coast. So I have a Google Voice number that's a local 703 number that I could have. Twilio functions similarly to that, okay? Although instead of voice and calls, it's texting. It's a broadcast texting service. So you can get a local generic number, right? And the system will allow you to text out from the platform. At this time, you can't use your own texting number, so you have to have a generic number to bulk text automatically from the back end. There's a service, it's a third-party company that KW works with. It's really, really cheap. So you can have 300 credits for $3 a month, or you can have up to 600 credits for like $5 a month. So very, very inexpensive. I recommend that you go in, create an account, claim a local number. I will tell you 703 numbers are hard to come by if that's the number you're looking for. So you may have to kind of go to the other area codes around because they only have a certain number of phone numbers in their pool. So create an account and then choose at a minimum, choose the $3 a month program to start and to see what kind of texting you're doing, and you can go up from there. Also, if you get too large of a platform up front and you don't so I have a 1,500 credit a month platform that I'm not using. So I'm stockpiling this credit. They're like rollover minutes. Remember those? We didn't used to have all unlimited minutes on our phone. And then the big thing was like, oh, you get rollover minutes. It's like rollover texts. So if you don't use all your texts in a given month, they're available to you the next month. So don't worry about it. It's not a use it and forget it type of thing. And you can always pause it if you have to. So those are settings. So I ran a little bit long. I'm sorry. Ted, anything in chat that I missed? How are we doing?
No, I don't see anything in there.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on anything? And I gave you a lot today on day one, but the important things were bookmarking all of those logins, making sure you have user ID and password, quick understanding of what you're looking at when you're looking at command or where you can go and get self-advocacy training, right? Because the more you can do for yourself, the faster you will ramp into the platform. Your Market Center Tech Trainers and myself, I am the Market Center Tech Trainer for Falls Church. So for some of you might work with me personally, right? So those are the lucky few, I'm just saying. The rest of you get Ted. Talk to your Market Center Tech Trainer. I love Ted. It's good to have somebody like that that I can kind of take shots at. Makes my trainings go a little bit easier. And talk to them regularly. They are your friends and they are there to help you. And they also, in a lot of cases, are also realtors too. So they're coming from a background just like I am of understanding your business and what you're trying to do as we grow. So tomorrow we'll start up again at 10 o'clock. Tomorrow we will get into contacts. So we'll take a very deep dive into the contacts applet for command. With that being said, thank you for coming. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And Amanda, we got to work on Sierra. So we'll schedule time to do that. Take care, everybody.